I have a lot of people that will come to me saying, hey, I need a certification, either to keep my job or to get this new job or get this promotion. I have a short time frame to do it because the opportunity is going to pass me by. And I'll say, okay, well, what's the goal? They'll tell me the cert or the thing they need to study and learn. And I said, okay, well, how much time do you think you're going to need for that? And they'll tell me, oh, I might need a couple months, but I only have less. For the best type of long-term memory is to try to what I call hijack the process of geospatial memory, which is time and space. And YouTube has been such a great platform for education because that is, majority speaking, visual learners are the top of the percentages.
Welcome to the Top Cyber Pro podcast, the show where we bring experts in the cybersecurity industry to share their valuable knowledge, experience, tips, tools, techniques, and resources to help you become a top cyber pro. And now, here's your host for this episode, Terry Thompson. If you want to achieve your goals, you must have better habits. Here's the thing. Time is going to move with or without you, but habits are better than goals. And we're going to dive into that. Welcome to the show, Jim West. How you doing, man?
Doing great as always, Terry. How about yourself?
Every day is Monday. You know the deal. Look, we're going to start selling these shirts on topcyberpro.com. We have to start selling these shirts because it's a mindset. And so is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity 100% is a mindset. And we're going to dive into some of those things today. We read a recent article where it talks about reading 20 pages a day being a habit. Saving $10 a day is a habit. Running 1 mile a day. Becoming 1% better. Here's the thing. The point is that small habits are underestimated. And remember that the longest race is won by taking one step at a time. And over time, you will achieve that end result in mind. So let's dive on into it. Today's theme is all about time. And it really takes that persistent action in order to achieve the things that you must achieve every single day. But what is it that you want to achieve? And we're going to dive into that. So Jim, what are your thoughts about time management? Because you're a true champion when it comes to like chunking and doing things and knocking things out. What are your thoughts about time and time management?
It's amazing when you look at like other people's accomplishments and success and you think to yourself, wow, I wish I had the time. I wish I had the resources or whatever the blank is for people. And the blanks are excuses. I would own a business. I would start a new company, or I would write a book if I had. Most of the time, we say time is our excuse. But then you look at people that are successful, like serial entrepreneurs. They're always starting new businesses, always doing a new project here and there. And we say, well, if I only had the energy. There's always the excuse or the blank. But the most common one is time. But yet people don't realize that every human being on the planet has that same limit. They're born and we're going to die. For some people, it's a little further out. Some people, unfortunately, it's sooner than later. But the day is 24 hours. We have the same amount of seconds and minutes, and some people are able to accomplish more than others simply because of determination, focus, creating those good habits to maximize and use the most effective use of time. I have a lot of people that will come to me saying, hey, I need a certification, either to keep my job or to get this new job or get this promotion. I have a short time frame to do it because the opportunity is going to pass me by. And I'll say, okay, well, what's the goal? They'll tell me the cert or the thing they need to study and learn. And I said, okay, well, how much time do you think you're going to need for that? And they'll tell me, oh, I might need a couple months, but I only have less than 4 to 6 weeks. And I'll tell you, that's all the time you need if you're willing to make it a priority and dedicate chunks of your day. Because again, when you start talking to someone, tell me what your day is, and you'll find it. It's so easy when people say, well, I go to Starbucks, I go to the office, I usually spend 10 minutes of water cooler talk, then I log in my system, I do this. But once you start really breaking it down hour by hour, you'll find that most people have lots of time in their day. It's just they're not conscious of it because they're not really tracking it. It's the same thing like with nutrition, not to go off on a tangent. But a lot of people that want to lose weight, they're like, well, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to the gym every day and I'm working out for an hour. When you look at the numbers, working out is only burning so many calories. And don't get me wrong, there's value in the working out, the cardio, and the strength training. But the ultimate goal is it's a science. To lose weight, you got to have less calories coming in that's being used. And so it all comes down to what you eat. And a lot of people don't track the little minutia of everything they eat in a day. Just like with time, no one's really tracking everything they're doing in their day to realize how much time they do have.
Yeah, I love that. And it's one of those things to where time, like I said in the beginning there, time's going to move with or without you, but what are you doing within that time? And I think that matters because it really kind of comes down to what's the most important thing that you want to achieve every day. For me, I call it the bottom line up front. That's it. I filter everything else out because it's not important. Look, I'm here to tell you that getting your certification is easy whenever it becomes a priority. And if it's not a priority, everything else is a priority. And if everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority. And you're not going to achieve your certification. Look, there's opportunity that's out there right here, right now. The job market is short. People are looking for cybersecurity experts. So whether you're in the field, not in the field, or you're trying to progress within your career, carve out some time to make studying a priority. And we're going to dive into some of that here as well, too. I remember studying for certain things years ago, and I had to make time. Even if it was from 7 o'clock at night to 10 o'clock at night, that was my 2 or 3 hour time chunk in which to just go over things. So when you're studying, when you're preparing for an exam or whether certification or whatever the case, I get anxiety. I 100% get test anxiety. But how do you prepare, and what is your best recommendation for preparing to take and pass one of those certifications?
Well, let me start with the word anxiety. Almost an easy 9 out of 10 students of mine or people that have come to me via the internet and other measures will always bring up, I'm not a good test taker. I get so nervous. Anxiety is rampant with human beings because we're anxious about the unknown. We don't know what's next. When we click for the next question, we don't know what's about to hit us with, right? And what I try to instill in my students is like confidence, empowering people with knowledge, with the different techniques that I teach about how to learn new things, how to use active learning and other techniques that I have to help you remember stuff for longer. Like imagine if you were able to read a book one time and knew at least 80+% of that book from reading it one time. That would be a phenomenal skill to have. Everybody has that capacity for that level of learning. Most people don't have to read the book 5-6 times, highlight, make notes, take copious amounts of notes on the side. And not that there's anything wrong with that approach, but it's highly inefficient if you only had a short amount of time to accomplish something. But I think anxiety is a problem because it's a lack of being prepared. It's a lack of confidence in your knowledge base that you can walk into a test feeling what I call well-armed mentally to take this on. And I think that the more that people are comfortable with knowledge, ingesting it, recalling it, then the more confident they are in the test. I think that's what it comes down to. And I think one of the beautiful things of cyberpro.com is our class teaches active learning. It teaches recall. It teaches these things so that not only do you use it for the test, you use it for everything in life, from simple things like remembering someone's name to addresses and phone numbers, like this lost art. I mean, Terry, you're a little bit older than I am, but we're both of a generation where we had to remember our home phone number, and everybody in our lives' number had to be up in the air. We just didn't have a phone that had all this internet wealth of knowledge. We had to actually remember stuff. And so, but yeah, I think that anxiety is definitely correlated to preparedness as well as how much knowledge you have accumulated.
And me having a military background, I love acronyms. Well, I hate acronyms actually, but they can be useful when studying for an exam. And I think that whenever you can shorten or you can filter out certain things or at least associate certain things with other things, I truly believe that's crucial in the learning process. And I know you have your book, Active Learning, which is also available on topcyberpro.com. You give some great tips, tools, techniques on how to take an exam. And I think that, tying some of that knowledge, some of those skills together will help you take and pass your exam. For me, acronyms, I love acronyms. So I remember when I was trying to take this one exam, I had this one thing I truly struggled with until I came up with an acronym for it. When I came up with an acronym, and it was funny, I'm not going to repeat what the acronym here is and what it means, but it had something to do with rubbing things together and this, that, and the other, but it helped me. I'd tell you, I didn't forget it. So talk to us about the importance of association or acronyms, but I think association is really the key point here.
You're definitely right. I mean, there's some popular ones, like for the OSI model for people studying networking. All people seem to need data processing.
Mm.
There's several other variations of that sentence, but for people to remember the order that the 7 layers of the OSI model went, that's using a sentence as simple as a sentence, an acronym. For example, for RMF, I like to use Shazam. It's not spelt the same as Shazam, but it's CSIAIAM. But it's just a humorous, verbally funny way for me to remember the order of which things go in. But I think the association is definitely more powerful. Association is the foundation of which there's a technique called memory palace that you can train yourself up to, and it definitely uses association. I think for the best type of long-term memory is to try to what I call hijack the process of geospatial memory, which is time and space. Not to be chauvinistic, but males typically have a better or more, they utilize that part of their memory more because it comes from that hunter mindset. Now, females on the hand, also because of gathering, they had to know where the berry bushes were, and the primitive men had to know where the watering holes were to go kill the animals to bring meat back to the camp. That time and place, what time to be there and where. Same thing. So the only way we manifest that today is in directions or where we parked our car. Right? That's about the only time we use that. But that part of our brain is so powerful to quickly hijack in remembering and raising our recall. But yeah, I think association. I think one time I did a conference, a cybersecurity conference that I concepted and ran and planned and ran, called Cyber out in Southwest Asia. And in Cyber we correlated everything to football and football themes. So even with network and data attacks, we represented it with football plays on a field. And it was such a great visual to let people kind of have that visualization of what's happening. And the defenders on the team represented the different networking components and security measures that we put in to try to stop those attacks. And it was a great way to let people go, oh, now that makes more sense to me than just reading about it in the book. I can now visualize what's kind of going on. So yeah, association is a very, very powerful tool.
Yeah, and it's one of those habits that you must integrate within your daily life. So as you're walking about, as you're going through things, have that habit of that visualization, have that habit of that association. So as you have the knowledge and skills and experience, that you're studying so hard for, when you're walking by, see if you can associate certain things with, like, hey, I see this at a grocery store. I see this here. I see this there, and associate that with. Here's another great habit that I truly believe in. And this is something that goes back to some of us old folks, and that's writing things down. Because I think that with apps and, all these different things that are out, computers, mobile phones, I think that we've lost the art of writing things down. And I think that when you write things down, especially when it comes to taking a test or trying to learn something or deeply ingrain something, there's power in writing things down.
Terry, you're absolutely right. Actually, one of the types of learners is called a kinesthetic learner. Is through physical touch. And because we're in a digital age where books have been replaced by Kindles or e-reader tablets, and our way we get our knowledge is through video screens and touch, apps, we've lost the ability to go back to just, following a story with our fingers. When we first learn to read, usually we're told to follow the sentence and the words with your fingers, sound things out, highlight, underline things that might be important. Those little basic study skills that used to be part of everyday life has now kind of been supplanted by technology. And so I'm always an advocate of people going back old school, especially when it comes to studying. You read something, start highlighting the key words. Use my labeling technique, the CIA method. If you read about, let's say, a new technology, well, what is the number one goal of that technology? And put a little letter by it, highlight it, letter by it, and just kind of incorporate that into your studying. I think that a lot of that's been lost with technology. So as great as technology advancements are, sometimes you got to go back old school.
I love that, and for me, I think that listening to things is really kind of passive learning, and I want to conduct active learning, which is one of the reasons why you wrote your book, Active Learning. And once again, different people learn different things differently. For those people that can learn simply by listening, I can't do it. Now I can, but I have to listen to it over and over and over and over again until it gets deeply ingrained. And then I have to make an association with it. And then I have to take action and get a result. And then, from there I can modify, tweak, or change. And ultimately, get the tools that are in my toolkit, that becomes the knowledge, the skills, and the experience. What are your thoughts about all that when I say that?
So when you talk about listening, that's oral, A-U-R-L, A-U-R-A-L, oral learning. And back in the earlier days of like higher learning, college, universities, higher learning institutions, when we think about those old type of institutions, we imagine the professor in the front of a dormitory speaking to 100+ students, right? Lectures, right? And the sad reality is that the people that learn primarily through oral learning is less than 9% of the population. So it was no wonder why most 1 to 2 year college student dropout rates was 40 to some areas of the world 60% in the first 2 years, because that's not their primary way of learning. The highest being visual learners. That's why YouTube academies and YouTube has been such a great platform for education, because that is, majority speaking, visual learners are the top of the percentages. So having things like Khan Academy to help people with math because they couldn't understand it from reading the figures on a paper, they needed a video to explain it. Visual learning is the top of the starts, but that doesn't mean that visual learning works for everybody. I've had a lot of students to say, hey, I've watched these YouTube videos, I've been to these different channels, and I still don't get it. Then we find out that they are oral learners. So we give them, like cybersecurity podcasts to listen to, or just tell them, hey, don't watch the video. Just don't even watch the screen, just listen to it. And it's just like, just that change up in the sensory that you're taking it in changes everything.
We had a recent conversation with a truly phenomenal level 99 top cyber pro, Jacqueline Jack Scott. And she mentioned something within that podcast episode it made sense. Now I'm fully aware of it, but when she said it, it completely hit in a whole different way. And we talk about the different learners, we talk about the different styles of learning, but she said something about personality traits. And I think that when you figure out what type of a personality that you have, how does that really help you learn better or understand or develop better habits? Because I think that there's something there with personality that will help you either be a procrastinator or to have better habits or a better test taker versus whatever. How does personality play into all this?
Well, I think when it comes to education, the only two in my book, Active Learning, I speak about intrapersonal and interpersonal type of learner. An intrapersonal, they're introverted. They rather be the lone wolf learner. They learn and self-study on their own. They don't want to. Whereas the interpersonal studier, they want to be in a study group. They want to hear different perspectives so that they can fine tune their own perspective. Or sometimes they want to give their perspective and have other people come back and help them refine it or challenge it sometimes. These are like the people that love to debate, people that love to just, soundboard off of a group of people and, challenge, others as well. And so there are pros and cons to both, obviously. For the introverted learner, they're going to lack the perspective and opinions of other people that they're not listening to or getting feedback out of. And for the interpersonal one, they will potentially lose their independent voice and opinions as a result of getting watered down through others that they let refine sometimes too much their ideas or generalize their ideas too much.
It sounds like you're talking 100% about me. I'm just saying. So no, I mean that with a whole heart, with a good heart as well too, because I know for me, I filter a lot of things. I'm not quite sure what type of a learner that I am or what my personality trait is. I'm going to have to go take those tests and figure that out, because I never thought about it, but I never thought about how some of those things can play into why you have certain habits versus why you don't have certain habits. And I think that there's something to unpack with that. Because look, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, that could be a driving factor on the types of habits that you have. And that could determine why you're a good person who loves to study. You're a great note taker, your audio, your visual, all of this stuff plays a role in how well you can study and prepare and take a test to get ready for cybersecurity. Look, here's the thing, getting into the cyber industry, it's not difficult, but you have to put in the effort. You have to put in the work. And that's the one thing that I truly believe that a lot of people don't have. And that's the habit of hard work. We have a habit of hard work. We have a shortage of a habit of hard work here within the world. and I don't know what to attribute it to. I don't know if it's technology has made things easier. Now people are lazy. I don't understand. People want the Staples Easy button. I don't understand. Let's dive down that right there. Jim, what are your
Well,
thoughts?
so I have a couple different perspectives on this. So obviously, I think generally speaking, people expect things to be, easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Or the moment someone meets a little bit of adversity or pushback or resistance challenge, it says a lot about the character of a person. Do they continue pushing forward, or do they pause, say maybe this isn't for me, I'm going to go do something else, or oh, this is too many jargon, this is too over my head, I'm going to quit. And what I say to most people that fall into the latter part of that statement is that, cybersecurity, there's nothing special about me, yourself, Terry, or Jax, or any other level 99 that's on the site. There's nothing special about these people. I mean that in the most polite way as possible, because I'm gonna support that statement. We're all just human beings like each other. Now, some of us are gifted with better recall, our memory recall, that we might have, somehow accidentally figured it out for ourselves, and that's wonderful. So if anything differentiates one of us to the other, it's just our area, our environment, our relations, and our opportunities that we've capitalized on. But beyond that, we're all flesh and bone like anyone else, and we have the same capacity for learning. So with that being said, when it comes back to, how you say about the habit of working harder, you hear the statement, work smarter, not harder. And so I look back on how I got started in cybersecurity. I was in Southwest Asia. I was a information assurance manager for a signal element, and I'd been doing it for about 3 to 5 years. And I got along with the military. I got along with everyone. I was very effective in that role. And then my program manager, because of a contractual issue, it was a thing called DoD 8570, which anyone that worked in defense contracting is familiar. It is a chart and a policy that dictates certain level certifications you need for certain level roles. And since I was an information assurance manager, I needed what was called an IAM level 3 certification. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I had no cybersecurity certifications, but I'd been working the job for now. I think this was like year 5 of being an information assurance manager. And again, no complaints, very effective in the role. So then my program manager came to me and said, hey, I've been emailing you for months now to the whole company that we had to get our 8570 certs. And you're the last one. Out of everyone, you should be the one that's on top of this because you're the IAM. And so the bad news he was giving me was, you have 30 days to get your certification, or I'm going to have to send you home. And it's nothing personal. And I don't care how much the military loves you, but they can't circumvent this policy change. So now here I was, I had 30 days to get my certifications. And I think this is a situation of some people that might be listening to this is in right now, or maybe in the past found themselves in where they was in a short window of time from either losing a job or failing to get a promotion to a better role in a job. So here I was for 30 days, and I had a colleague that gave me some advice. He had asked me, Jim, when was the last time you took a certification? And I said, oh, it's been a while. It was like back in like the mid 90s, my MCSE and T40. And he goes, Jim, it's been a long time. You may want to ease your foot. Instead of the CISP, start with like a Security Plus and maybe a CEH and see how you do with those. So I walked into the testing center on a Tuesday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, I passed my Security Plus and CEH. I was like, all right, I got those 2 under my belt. I think I'm ready. I'll schedule and take my CISP on Friday. When I first took the CISP, it took me about an hour and 50 minutes, 250 questions, Scantron, you got to fill in little bubbles. But I finished in less than 2 hours and felt really confident. But here was the problem. That was the first week of 4 that I had left. Well, when you take a Scantron version of CISP back then, you have to mail the proctor has to mail those Scantrons back to the States. That could take a week or 2. And plus, ISC Square will tell you they need 4 to 6 weeks of processing, and they will notify you. So now I had no control over even the CISP coming back in 30 days. So now I'm stuck with a quandary. I can't wait because I'm about to be sent home before I even get my results back. So I scrambled. I said, what is an exam that's an IAM level 3 that I can take that I can get the results immediately? And luckily I found that GIAC had the GIAC Security Leadership Certification, the GSLC. So I went and took that exam the next week, and luckily I passed and I was able to stay. And another 4 weeks after that, I found out that I had the CISP my first time. But the point of all that is that, did I need to take 6 months to a year to get a certification? No, it was literally, I was told I had 30 days or I had to go home. And so I kind of had a date set. My back was against the wall. And every day I said, this is my priority. This is my focus. What do I need to do to get to the finish line? And, someone said, take a Sec Plus, even though Sec Plus wasn't going to help me, but it helped me know that, okay, if I can pass the Sec Plus, that's the foundation. Then I got the CEH. I got a little bit more. Okay, I validated that I'm up to here. Now and then when I got the CISP and the GSLC, it let me know that I was good to go with my knowledge base. And of course, after that, Terry, the next few years, I started picking up more certifications. Did I need those certifications? No. But what I told myself after that incident, I said, I will always be 85, 70 certified. And since that time, I've had one certification I've had certification to cover every box of that chart throughout my whole career, simply because I was going to tell myself I will never be told that I can't fulfill a role because I have every cert that I need to check the boxes. Now, I'm not advocating that for people, but circling back to what this talks about, I took 30 days. And I think that if anyone out there thinks they need more than 30 days to accomplish a certification, I would advise them that life happens. You're going to have stuff that happens in your life, life events, family member passes away, someone falls sick. You might get hit with unexpected financial difficulties, family vacations, family reunions, family events, personal events will happen throughout the year. So that if you say, oh, I'm going to take the next 6 months to get the CISP, that's not the right answer. Every student I've ever mentored has had a window of 30 days or less. And I do have I don't want to mean to shamelessly plug, but we will be providing a curriculum for CISP in 10 days and CISP in 30 days here in the near future. And that is just to support the fact that I believe that you can have a 30-day or less window on any certification out there. And when I say CISP, anyone watching this video knows CISP is one of the most respected cybersecurity certifications in the job market today. It's often in the top 5 lists of certifications in demand. And so with the 10 days, I've actually helped 2 NCOs in Southwest Asia get their CISP first time passing with that method for 10 days. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too much, Terry. But the main point is, I was once a person that was forced to get my certifications, and I didn't have to take months to do it. And if I could do it, anyone can. But I know people watching saying, well, you're Jim West, you're a level 99. But guess what? At some point in my career, I was a level 1. And I had to start at level 1 and work my way up to 1 to 20, 20 to 60, and then work my way and earn my way up to level 99. So when you see people like Jax and others, like Paul and others that we're honored to have on our site, everyone had to start somewhere. Everyone had to start with that first step. And for me, I look back at like what the beauty of the master classes at Top Cyber Pro, and I'm thinking, even though I'm the founder of that method, if I only would have had that in the mid 90s, if I would have had Top Cyber Pro in the mid 90s, where I would be even further today. And, because my career path did one of these, with little side paths and mishaps and going here, there, and then sometimes, you get a setback and you have to work your way back up. That's kind of been my career path. And the beauty I look at Top Cyber Pro is I'm helping people that are like transitioning military or people going from one career industry and completely changing over into cyber. And right now, like I'm mentoring someone that's coming from a healthcare industry going into cyber. And to see that transition where they have the roadmap, instead of winding up and having the setbacks and failures, they have a roadmap, a course. Top Cyber Pro is giving you that easy button to save time. Because not everybody has unlimited time, but if whatever time you do have, Top Cyber Pro fits that. And I'm amazed that when I see students like get the light bulb moments and they go, oh my goodness, I had so much difficulty trying to understand it, but now you just flip the switch in my head. The light bulb is on now.
And it reminds me that what you focus on gets results, whether positive or negative. Look, here's the thing. What you focus on gets results, whether positive or negative. But what are you focusing on? And I truly believe that's a habit that people need to really deeply ingrain, because everything begins right there. Everything that we say, everything that we do first was a thought, but what you focus on gets results. If you're focused on, all the excuses, all the different things, that's what you're focused on. And unfortunately, that's going to lead you down a negative path. But if you sit down like Jim Jim, you just mentioned the career map and the career, how people can get certified, the certification roadmap. We just had level 99 top cyber pro Paul Morgan on the show, and he has two absolutely amazing resources for people. He's got the career certification, certification roadmap, and the career path roadmap as well too. And it's one of those things where sometimes you just have to sit down and focus. What do I want to achieve? And then how am I going to achieve it? And I truly believe that when you figure out what you want to achieve and how, it really ties into the most important thing you must focus on if you want to get results. And that's why you're doing the thing. When you understand why you're doing something, the what and the how becomes significantly much more easier to accomplish. But why do you want to get into cybersecurity? Why do you want to do things? Why do you want to switch careers? Why do you want to do all these things? I truly believe that the number one habit that you must get into when it comes down to achieving any degree of success is why you're doing something. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the why is really important. I think having people that are passionate for learning, or, the benefit of cyber is there's always something new to read or learn about every day. And I think if you have a thirst for knowledge, a thirst for learning, then cyber is great for you. But then I'll be quite frank, half the students and half the people that are brutally honest with me, when they come to me and saying, hey, I need to change my career, or I need a cert to keep my job, it's mainly a very financial driven decision. Because one of the great things about cyber is you are potentially 1 to 2 certifications away from a 6-figure career. So I'm not going to name the student, but I do have a student I'm mentoring that's in that's going to be in the New Orleans area, and he just picked up a security clearance packet that he's doing. He had a couple certs, and now he's doing his equip, and he's about to start a 6-figure job. And it's just amazing that he was 2 certifications away, and now he's getting a secret clearance. His trajectory is completely changed for the rest of his life, and I'm so happy. I get such joy out of seeing people grow and to discover something that they never thought was possible for themselves. So yeah, I think the focus, when you put that focus on something and study hard, and put I always say begin with the end in mind, right? The end in mind is, for some people it's money, right? I want to make 6 figures. Okay, great. You are, like I said, 1 to 2 pieces of paper away, certifications away from accomplishing that. 2, if your goal is to work in something that's going to, make you grow and work with others and build great things and projects, cyber can scratch that itch for you too. It really just depends on what sector of cyber you want to go in, what area, region of the world you want to live in, and you could plot your course out accordingly. And that's actually something else that we offer on topcyberpro.com. Maybe not most people, when they think of Top Cyber Pro, they think of the master classes and, the level 99s and our testimonials. But we actually have a career consultation service where I and Terry will both review your resume. We will offer, like, what's that next cert or the next level of training you should take to further either raise yourself up in your current career part of industry, or to branch out into another one. Here are some options if you wanted to open up opportunities. We offer that on our site. A lot of people don't know that, but yeah.
I love that, Jim. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable knowledge, skills, and wisdom here today. At the end of the thing, look, here's what it comes down to. If you want to achieve your goals, you must establish better habits. I 100% believe that. And we talked about some tips, techniques, and a resource in topcyberpro.com that will help you achieve your goals, your habits significantly much faster. But before we go, Jim, what are your final thoughts for anybody watching here today? What would be your final bit of advice here today?
So I have this image, and I've posted on social media, pretty much almost every year about this image, because it's something that I think about when I think about time. And it's a great quote by Henry Rollins, who was from the Rollins Band, if anyone remembers the 90s. But the quote says there, no such thing as spare time, no such thing as free time, no such thing as downtime. All you got is lifetime. Go. And I don't know how well that'll show up on the screen there, but I love that quote. It reminds me that we only have our lifetime to do the things we want to do, experience the things we want to experience, and to impact and achieve the things we want to achieve and impact others' lives, whether that's your immediate family, your neighborhood, your region, your country, the world. Everybody, it's easy to say, I want to change the world. But first, start with changing the world inside you. Change the way that you see the world, change your negative thoughts into positive ones, build upon what knowledge and experience you have, leverage the tools and resources that's available to you, and build yourself up first so that you can help others. And with any student of mine that's watching this video right now, you are under the obligation by me helping you. I ask every student of mine to make sure you help others the same way I've helped you, because we all are part of filling this cybersecurity skills gap.
I love that. And Henry Rollins, by the way, is one of the most humble men I've ever met. So I got an opportunity to meet Henry in Afghanistan years ago, and he was such a humble person, and he's done a lot of things over the years, but the one thing that no matter what it is that he's done, I will never forget how much of a human he actually is. And I think that when you put a human element behind certain things, anything is possible, because there's nothing that's within this world that is so superhumanly out of reach that you cannot accomplish it. And I truly believe that. So Jim, thank you so much for joining us here today. Truly phenomenal conversation.
Thank you, Terry.
All right. So that was Jim West right there. He is the CEO and the founder of Top Cyber Pro at topcyberpro.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And if you want to connect with more from us, you can do that by visiting our website, topcyberpro.com. We'll see you in the next episode.